What's your troubles and go to somebody about them, you're just fool. The best way to settle them is to make something that has form, because all you want to do is get a sense of form. All that makes you healthy and well is a feeling that there is some sort of form to your business, your occupation. Everybody that starts anything just starts as a village idiot, of course. And maybe that's what all poets ought to be. You see them wondering about that, how wild you have to go to be beyond the rational, beyond the orderly. I often think of it, where the thought comes in, the force comes in, the wild force. My friendship lately in Washington has been very strange to me. It's blundered into, and I'm very much in the affairs of the Secretary of in the Interior. That doesn't mean psychology. The real interior, and his beautiful obsession is almost the same as mine. Mr. Udall is round everywhere declaring wildernesses. It's he and Daniel Boone and Thoreau and me, all for the wilderness. Another poet had that wish, he said, oh, for a lodge in some vast wilderness. The 18th century poet said, oh, for a lodge in some vast wilderness, some mighty contiguity of shade. He called that's some 18th century stuff. Mighty contiguity of shade. That's fun, isn't it? That way. We're taught that they're going to change to change swords into plowshares, and all that, to change weapons into tools. This one is called the objection to being stepped on. This is a recent one, too. The objection to being stepped on. At the end of the row, I stepped on the toe of an unemployed hoe. It rose in offense and struck me a blow in the seat of my sense. It wasn't a blame, but I called it an aim. And I must say it dealt me a blow that I felt like malice prepense. You may call me a fool, but was there a rule the weapon should be turned into a tool? But what do we see? The first tool I step on turned into a weapon. Then this full one, let's vary a little bit. This is an old one, too. Been round almost as much stopping by woods. It's called Provide, Provide, like that. Terrible. The witch that came, the withered hag, to wash the step with pail and rag, was once the beauty Abishag, the picture pride of Hollywood. Too many fall from great and good for you to doubt the likelihood. Die early and avoid the fate, or if predestined to die late, make up your mind to die in state. Make the whole stock exchange your own. If need be, occupy a throne where nobody can call you crone. This was long before Monaco. Make the whole stock exchange your own. If need be, occupy a throne where nobody can call you crone. Some have relied on what they knew, others on being simply true. What worked for them might work for you. No memory of having starred makes up for later disregard or keeps the end from being hard. Better to go down dignified with boughten friendship at your side than none at all. Provide, provide. I've read that here before, and I've told what happened once in Washington. This was in the old times down Washington, and in front of me was a very important man, not quite the most important, but very important, and he was right down front. So I wound this up. I said, Better to go down dignified with warden friendship at your side than none at all. Provide, provide, or somebody else will provide for you. And I thought his wife was beside him, and she smiled. He didn't. He looked pretty grave. And then to make it even worse, I went on. You see, I love to say that tone, to say, or somebody else will provide for you. And then, and how will you like that? That's why I am what I am. You know. Then you like to be in. Now that's a terrible great poem. That's one of my most political of all my poems. I was born a Democrat, and I've stayed a Democrat, but oh my, I've been pretty uneasy since 1896. I said to the president, I said, I admire you so much that I wish I was a better Democrat than I am. I'm a Democrat, but that's something the matter. A lady said to me, you've been saying all sorts of things tonight. Which are you, conservative or radical? And I said, I never dared. This is my one free-verse poem that's been kept going. I put it in my book. I liked it so well. See, I reached one of those points I speak of, a new think. I said, I never dared be radical when young, for fear it would make me conservative when old. And she went, you know, kind of confused. She didn't know where that left. I left her hanging up. That was out in California. I left her hanging there. She's hanging there still. I'm not a reformed Democrat or a reformed Republican or a reformed communist or anything. I'm just as I always was. Some of the new critics have found that I'm a terror. The things I've been all reading are terrific, terrible. Listen to this. I was saying as I came over, I tell a funny case of it. There's a little poem of mine, an old one, goes like this. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. See now, just look at that, fair and square. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. And someone says to me, very sinister poem. Sinister? No, he said, yes, the crow is a blackbird. And I said, the crow appears all sorts of ways, but all right. I don't argue. And then he said, and I said, what more? He said, the hemlock tree. And I said, here? Hemlock tree. And he said, what, Socrates? Socrates, you know, death of Socrates. And, you know, you get surprises in this world. I never thought of that. I live with hemlock trees, and it's not the weed that Socrates drank at all, you know. And it's all around us, the tree. I'm partly just putting there as much city as I am country, but I am a little more country than city. And I know what a hemlock tree is. It takes all sorts of in and outdoor schooling to get adapted to my kind of fooling. Sometimes I feel very brazen. Then sometimes I'm scared. I don't know why. I think it's because of some lack of some sustaining positiveness that I want to do something to people. If I don't have that, I wish to do something to them. I feel sort of scared. I always felt that with the class, too. Not
tell them something, or do something to them, do something to them. Then I was good. One of my favorite ways was to scare them about what it was to have what I really called an idea, to say what Ringlardner calls a bucketful. Say something that is something, you know. They write these perfunctory papers that don't have anything in them, not one crack to the carload.
Some people seem to think that if they pile up enough knowledge, it's like piling up oily rags in the basement, that they'll burst into flame of themselves, light the world up. They say to you in school, you know, hey, here we're going to dump a lot of material on you now. We back up this load to you, and then they say, now it's coming, assimilate it. And you die under it. The accumulators.
Forgive, O Lord, my little jokes on thee, and I'll forgive thy great big one on me. What's God's great big joke on me? I'd rather not say. And the biggest joke of all is that I'm not saying. Sometimes I think I'm just a joke. But slowly not caring too much about that either. The gamble of life takes bravery, doesn't it? They tell about one soldier beside another charging up Mary's Height at Fredericksburg. He said to him, you're scared. And the other fellow said, yes, if you were as scared as I am, you'd run away. But you got to be brave and you got to be bold. Be brave enough to take your chance on your own discriminations. What's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. I suppose the most terrifying thing of all would be unjustly shot against the wall. Whether your legs would fail you and all that, you wonder, you know, what your courage is. No, you wonder about everything, always wondering. See, the fear of God is just that. The Old Testament says more than once, I think, may my gift, my sacrifice be acceptable in thy sight. See? Fear, you've got to have that fear of some ultimate judgment beyond the crowd and beyond me. And that when you die in battle, that's what you have to say, you know, may my life be acceptable in thy sight. May my sacrifice be acceptable in thy sight. That's what you mean by the fear of God. However you work at it. No matter what you do, your work, your poetry, your life that you bet on, succeed or fail, may it be an acceptable sacrifice on that altar.
Now, I guess I've about taken your time. I'm warned against wearing you out. Say good night to you. If you stay standing, I'll say one little more poem to you, shall I? For the last one. Let's make it sweet and sad. You don't want to misunderstand me, but let me see how this goes. This one I wrote young. The heart is still aching to seek, but the feet question whither. Now this is for the farewell. Ah, when to the heart of man was it ever less than a treason to go with the drift of things, to yield with the grace to reason, and bow and accept the end of a love or a season? And so we had another kind of time from just digging potatoes. And say good night to you. Good night.